Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we move on to day 4, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. Yes, day 4 of the York Ebor Festival, where obviously the highlight tomorrow is going to be the Ebor. I've got 2 selections in that, but we'll come to them in due course. So let's start off looking at the first race of the day, the Sky Bet Strensel Stakes, the Group 3 over just shy of 1.1 miles. And I think the favourite here is the one to beat, See the Fire. Last 5 runs have actually been in Group 1 company, ending last season running in the Fillies Mile. Not running badly, finishing 3rd in the Fillies Mile behind Lang Lang and Shawari. Then came out this season, ran in the 1000 Guineas, has then been to Ascot for the Coronation Stakes, went to Sandown for the Eclipse, actually ran okay in the Eclipse, was only beaten 7.5 lengths in 4th. And then last time out, went to Goodwood for the Group 1 Nassau Stakes, finished 2nd to Opera Singer. Now, I know there was a lot of talk around Opera Singer going into that she was very classy. So the fact that See the Fire got so close probably demonstrates that actually it was a really good run. And you could argue that her 2 runs over the mile and 2 trip have been better than her 2 runs over the mile. This is just shy of 1.1 miles, so it's just in the middle, and maybe she's not quite getting home over that 1.2 miles trip. But I think the big thing here is it's a Group 3, and it doesn't look the strongest Group 3 either. And you would imagine that is why she is favourite for this race. I mean, it's not a good race. It's not a good Group 3 in the first place. And it's a big drop in class for See the Fire. And if she's going to get her head back in front, you would imagine that it's going to be tomorrow. And you can currently get 11-4 about her. And I think that's a fair price. You know, if the drop back in trip doesn't affect her too much, I think she's going to run a really big race here in comparison to her rivals. She might not be quite good enough for Group 1 company, but maybe Group 2 and Group 3 should certainly be within her reach. And I think she is the one to beat here. Moving on to the 2.25 at York, the horse I like here is the Equator. The Equator actually steps back up in trip to 1.6 miles after finishing 5th in the Queen's Vase at Royal Ascot. A Group 2, wasn't beaten that far by Illinois and Highbury. Birdman back in 3rd, Maydan in 4th, the Equator 5th. So the right horses were in front. The right horses came to the fore. The Equator was quite keen that day, and they put the blinkers on to try and get him to settle a bit better. He dropped in trip last time, ran okay behind Naval Force. It wasn't the best of results considering he got beat, but at least it was a decent effort in the context of like this race. So he was taking on horses that were about the same sort of class. Yes, he's got to give weight away, but I think the step back up and trip this time will really suit. The blinkers are on. A little bit disappointing that Ryan Moore isn't here. He's going to Ireland. I think he's riding, is he riding Bedtime Story at the Curragh? Let's just have a quick check. Who's he gone to ride? Is it this one? He's riding Bedtime Story, and you know that's why he's going to the Curragh. But it just means that there's a big opening for Gavin Ryan on the Equator, and I think he can give him a good ride. And yeah, I think the step back up in trip is key to the Equator. The blinkers are back on. I mean, if you put Illinois or you put, Illinois ran a great race a couple of days ago, didn't he? If you put Illinois or Highbury or Birdman or Maydan in this race, there'd be a short price. And yet the Equator's kind of being overlooked, I think, a little bit. And his racing before that even wasn't that bad. He was fourth in a Group 3. He'd won a maiden over 1.2 miles. It's all about the trip for the Equator for me, and hopefully he can run a really big race. So let's have a look at what price you can get. I kind of feel he should be nearer favouritism, to be honest. Oh, he is now favourite. 13-2. I think that's a fair price. I still think he's the one to be on here. Moving on to the 3 o'clock at York. Who do I like here? I can't get away from Audience. We suggested after the horse ran at Ascot, drop back in trip, 7 furlongs is what Audience wants. dropped back in trip, went to Goodwood and won a Group 2, beating Art Power, beating Kinross, beat Art Power comfortably and beat Kinross relatively comfortably as well, over 7 furlongs. Kinross for me is a 6 furlong horse. I really like him over 6 furlongs, Kinross, but not as much over 7. I don't think he's as good over 7. I don't think he quite stays the trip. And yeah, I'm happy to take Audience to reverse the form from last year, because Kinross actually won this race and Audience was second. I think Audience went slightly too hard that day. I think they've got it right this year. They know what they're doing. They've worked out what to do now. After the good effort, it wasn't a bad effort at Ascot, to be fair, and then a good effort at Goodwood when winning that Group 2. I think Rab Havlin will know exactly what to do on Audience, can go forward, set a relatively even pace, and then quicken away at the finish and should be strong. So yeah, Audience is my selection. Is that it's quite a boring one. I think Audience is favourite. He is indeed. He is currently available at 13-8. I think he takes all of the beating there. It's and I really think it's between the front two in the market. I don't have Lake Forest being as good as the rest, and the top two in the market. And I think the others aren't as good at this trip. Art Power maybe if it was 5 or 6, but not at this trip. And 5,000 to 1. One's a handicap. So we've backed a couple of favourites in the first few races. There might even be 3 favourites in the first 3 races. So we're looking at the Ebor, and good if you don't like favourites, neither of these are going to be favourite in the Ebor. Let's just select Audience. The 2 I like in the Ebor are Ziggy. I highlighted Ziggy for this race after finishing 3rd at Ascot in the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes. I said the horse wants further. I kind of suggested that after it run at Epsom, the horse wants further. And they kept running over 1.5 miles, and I was quite happy with that because the handicap mark was sticking around the same. And then actually won a race over 1.4 miles at York, which was a little bit frustrating because I'm sure the horse wants further. Did get a £6 penalty, a £4 penalty for that, sorry, and has gone up to 101. I think the trip will bring out more from this horse though, so I'm okay with that £4 penalty because I felt the horse could have won last time over 1.4 miles off 97, or it could have won off 97. When it gets its trip, do I think it's £4 better? Yes. So I think Ziggy can still run a really big race here, and Richard Kingscote from the front could be very interesting in this race. I do like Richard Kingscote from the front, and I do think he's the one to. I think he's the one to really appreciate this step up to 1 mile 6, and that's Ziggy, and he's a decent price. He's a bigger price than I thought he would be. Ziggy is currently down here at 16-1. Outlier of 18, 16-1 for Ziggy, and I'm really hopeful that the trip will bring out more. The second horse that I'm going to do in this race is right at the top, Alfred Boucher, on the basis of the horse actually ran in this race last year. No, didn't, ran in 2022, sorry. Finished second off a mark of 100, runs off 99. When finishing second, got beat by Trawlerman, who was winning off 101. Trawlerman is now rated 118. So on that basis, Alfred Boucher bumped into one. And that was getting caught on the line just 4 days after winning the Stayers Handicap at York, when beating Frankenstella and Zoffi. So the horse had returned to the Ebor off a very short layoff, and got beat by a very well handicapped Trawlerman. Trawlerman had obviously won at Goodwood just before that, and then came to York and won the Ebor. Yes, Alfred Boucher was then off for 686 days off the track. 686 days off the track he didn't run for, because of an injury he picked up in the Watergate Cup at Chester when sent off the 5-2 favourite. Now, I'm completely ignoring that run in terms of how he performed. He was 9th of 10 over a trip that was probably too short. He would have definitely needed the run. And Nanako Fujita probably didn't really know what to do on the horse. Callum Shepherd's on. Obviously, it would be a big win for Callum Shepherd if he could win, because he's just been banned for stopping riding. Where was it? Kempton a few days ago. He's just got an 18-day ban, so he'd definitely like to put his name in the headlines for the right reasons. And I think he could certainly do that on Alfred Boucher. I think the horse is well handicapped. It's all about, does he retain that ability from a couple of years ago? If he does, he's way overpriced. He is down here at 50s. I'm quite happy to have a bet on him at 50s, that Ian's looked after him, got him back to his best, didn't have anything, had no intention of going well next time. First time up, at Ascot. Got him that run. He's fit. He's won at York. He's finished second in this race. 50-1 looks a massive price. So they're my two in the Ebor. It is, who did I say? Ziggy, who I think will appreciate the step up and trip at 16s. And Alfred Boucher at 50s. They are going 66, but I'm ignoring that. At 50s, on the basis that if he gets if he is back to his best, he is very well handicapped. Moving on to the 410. If you follow my videos, you'll know exactly who I'm going to do here. There are two, and they will be good old Summergand. Yep, Summergand again. He's got a good draw this time in 6. He didn't run badly in the Great St Wilfrid. He was 4th, didn't quite get there in time, found things happening a bit quick. But he's got form at York. We know I think he's won this race before, hasn't he? Just having a look on my other screen. He did. He won this off 97. He runs here off 89. So on that basis, that was only 2 years ago. On that basis, he's very, very well handicapped. It just needs things to drop right for him. And I'm hoping that Oisin can get after him early. Because if he can get riding early, the horse will stay on all the way to the line. And I'm prepared to give Summergand another go. And he is currently... Summergand you can currently get at 9s. And the second horse that I'm going to do in this race is Harry 3, who I actually tweeted about a few days ago. On the basis that the horse that he'd previously beaten at this track, Lucky Man, has actually come out and won recently himself, possibly suggesting that this is the time of year to catch them too. Lucky Man's just come out and won off 80, was being beaten by Harry 3 that day off 87. But Harry 3 runs off 97. He won off 97. Harry 3 won by 2 3/4 lengths in a 6 furlong handicap. So a 6 furlong dash, and he still won by 2 3/4 lengths. He won it really comfortably. And this season, I just felt his return in the listed race was a good effort. He then went off a short price, or relatively short price, for the Wokingham. He only went off 9-1 for the Wokingham. And then he went to Chester, where I don't think he liked the track. He was midfield and then weakened late on. I don't really think he liked the track. But he's back at a track now that he does like. He does like York, as he demonstrated when winning that race very comfortably. And off that same handicap mark, he's had 3 runs. He should be fit. I think he's got a great chance in this race, and I'm very happy with the 18-1 that you can get about Harry 3. He's not ideally drawn maybe in 11, but if he can get across and join that far side group, I don't want him down the near side group, I want him over that far side, then I think he can go well, because he's one that can be weighted with and then come through late on. So yeah, I'm quite happy with my 2 in this race. Summergand at 9s and Harry 3 at 18s. 2 races to go. The 4:45, the listed race. I can't get away from the favourite here, Mr. Lightside. I thought that 3rd placed effort behind Big Mojo and Asterius is really, really good form. It's better form than this, in my opinion. And it's better form than what anything else has shown here. And he certainly comes here with a massive chance. However, I say all that, I am actually going to take him on. I'm going to take him on with the Tropical Storm. And the reason I like Tropical Storm is I'm trying to work out who the best Wathnan racing horse is between Shareholder and Asterius. And I don't think there's a lot between them. But I do like the form of Tropical Storm. When beating Arizona Blaze, who should have won a couple of days ago, beat Whistle Jacket, was behind Shareholder in the Norfolk Stakes, the Group 2. For me, that's really good form. Okay, he then disappointed at Goodwood when being far too keen, led clearly about 3 or 4 furlongs out, faded late on, was just far too keen that day. If he can settle a bit better, I think this is an easier race again. As I said, that was a Group 2. He was in a Group 2 Ascot. He ran in a decent race at Newmarket before that. He's down to a listed race, and I kind of feel that this is a race that he can certainly take all the beating in, particularly with his draw. He's drawn in 1, so he's drawn over that far side, and I think he's going to take all of the beating here. Mr. Lightside has the best form, but I think Tropical Storm with that draw can overcome that and is the bet in the race. Let's have a look at what price they are currently. Tropical Storm we can now get at 7-2, and I think Tropical Storm can beat Mr. Lightside and actually prove that the Tropical Storm form is better. The Shareholder is better than Asterius. As much as I like Asterius, I'm hoping that the Shareholder form is really, really strong. And finally, moving on to the 520, the final race of the day and the final race of the festival. There are 2 in this that I like, and they are a previous eye catcher from Goodwood, Dual Identity. I thought he was going to run a really big race last time out at Goodwood, over 1 mile and 2. He runs over 1 mile and 2 again. Thought he was coming there to go really well when not getting a clear run. It was a long way back for most of the race. Didn't get the clearest of runs, and I think if he'd got a clearer run, he would have gone a lot closer. And I kind of feel he's overpriced based on that he should be closer to the head of the market. Let's just have a look. Make sure he's not at the head of the market. He's not at the head of the market. That's good. I think he should be closer to the head of the market because I think he's been running well enough in these handicaps to demonstrate that he's going to go very close very soon. And you can currently get 11-1 about Dual Identity. The second horse in this race that I like is Sabuska, who runs in the same colours, and he's actually got the white cap, which might mean he's their number 1, which if he is, straight away, the fact you can get 14s about him is a good thing. Why do I like him? Well, he's got some good York form, hasn't he? The last time he ran at York, he was actually running in the Judgment, and he finished 3rd behind Baid. Mishrif was 2nd, but beat Dubai Honour, Native Trail and High Definition. Good form. Time before that, he was winning a Group 2, beating Dubai Honour. The run before that, he was finishing 4th to Space Blues in a Group 2. And he's also finished 2nd in the Clipper Logistics over 1 mile, beaten by Montatham, running off a mark of 107. Well, he runs off 105 here. So first time back into a handicap at York since finishing a next 2nd to Montatham, who at the time was rated 104. What did he do after that? I think he went up, didn't he? Next time he went to Sandown and finished 2nd and listed. Never actually came back out and won, but did run some good races in listed company after that, Montatham. So Sabuska had finished 2nd by a neck off a mark of 107. Well, he runs off 105, and Brandon actually takes another £5 off. I think they're very useful £5 off. And I thought he gave a good ride a few days ago to Sugarloaf Lenny at Yarmouth. Didn't quite work on Designer. Things didn't go to plan. But I wouldn't be giving up on the jockey Brandon Wilkie. Taking the 5 off. He gave Liberty Coach a winner, didn't he? He gave us a winner with Liberty Coach a few days ago on the 17th. I think taking that £5 off makes all the difference here. And if he's running off a mark of 100, having not performed badly last time out, he was 4th behind Haunted Dream in a conditions race, Cairo and My Prospero. It's not like he finished last and was well beaten that day. He does still retain his ability, and off a mark of 100, an effective mark of 100, I think he is very much overpriced in this race at 14-1. So they are my two in the final race. Dual Identity was a Goodwood eye catcher. I thought he didn't get the clearest of runs. If he did, he would have gone a lot closer. And the other horse running in those colours, Sabuska, down to 105. But Brandon takes 5 off, which means he's effectively running off 100, which I think gives him a great chance of going really well here at a course that he's done well at. So a quick recap. In the 150, I'm going for See the Fire. I think this is a much easier race than what she has been running in, and her efforts in those Group 1s have been good efforts. 225 at the Equator, back up in trip, I think will really suit. The blinkers are on. Yes, is now favourite at 13-2, but I think it's the one to beat in this race for Aidan O'Brien. In the Sky Bet City of York Stakes, the Group 2 audience, now they know what to do with him. I think we'll take all the beating and reverse that form with Kinross. I don't think any of the others are good enough to challenge the front two in the market. In the Ebor, I'm going for right at the bottom of our names here. They're obviously not in ratings order. Alphabetical order, Ziggy. I think the trip is ideal for him. This is what he's been waiting for. It's a little bit frustrating that he did win last time out, as he would have got in without that. But I think the step up in trip is really going to suit him. And Alfred Boucher, if he retains his ability, he's running off a £1 lower mark than finishing second in this race after just a 3-day break behind Trawlerman, who's now rated £18 higher. 410, I'm going for Harry 3 in the Sky Bet's Constantine Handicap. He loves York, or he's ran well here on his only start. He won very impressively off this same mark. And Some Again, who is back to a race that he does run well in, just needs that clear run to go very close, I think, of 89. 445, I'm going for Tropical Storm. I'm hoping the shareholder form is better than the Asterius form. Shareholder form is Tropical Storm, and Asterius form is Mr. Lightside. Tropical Storm also has the advantage of being well drawn with the draw bias that there's been so far this week. And finally, in the last race, going for the two horses in the same colours, Dual Identity and Sabuska. Dual Identity didn't get the clearance of runs at Goodwood, was in the process of running a really big race, runs off the same mark, and Sabuska off 105, but Brandon taking 5 off effectively means he's running off 100. Last time he ran in a handicap at York, he was second, beaten a neck off 107, and his form since then at York has been pretty good, running in group races. He's even contested the Juddmonte International when finishing third.